I'm a speedrunner of Luigi's Mansion 3, obviously, and I'm making this video just to submit to future showcases. So there's a couple things I want to explain the game before we get into it. So first, I want to say that we are in European French. That is the language that we run on. You have to go into the system settings and set that up. It saves on 2 text boxes overall, which isn't a ton of time saved, but it's worth going for anyways. And second of all, I want to say that this game's physics engine works on seed. So every time you open the game from the home menu, you get a different seed. So if I were to close out of the game right now, then I would lose the seed. And what the seed does, I'll show you right before we get into the run. Obviously, if I were in a marathon setting, I wouldn't explain this right here. I would show as we go through the run, but show this here. What the seed-based physics engine allows us to do is we are able to phase through objects like this. So if you saw that, Luigi pushed Luigi through the gates there, and that allows us to skip various things. You'll see along the run as we go through, but yeah, let's get started. The time starts on this screen, so go in 3, 2, 1, go. Another thing to note is that first time playing this game, you have to watch all of the cutscenes. So when you go through the game again, you can start skipping them. So I already have a file on this profile that has skipped every cutscene, or at least viewed every cutscene so far. So first part of the game is pretty standard. Luigi and friends get invited to a hotel, and similar to the first game, they all get kidnapped. Luigi's here waiting for them, so all I'm doing right now is I'm checking Mario and Peach's room first. You'll notice immediately to turn, what I'm doing is I'm mashing the B button, which allows me to kind of instant turn all throughout the game. You'll see me save time by doing that, like right there. I don't mash there, it's a bit easier to hold the button, get the instant turnaround. Normally the skip button is on the minus button, but I have remapped the buttons on my controller so that I use plus to skip cutscenes instead of minus. Makes things a little bit more consistent. Minus button is kind of far to reach, so. Yeah, we're waiting here for a few seconds. This would be a good time for donations or any other announcements going on during the run. Yeah, we're just chilling here right now, but around 2:20, 2:21 on the timer is when we fade back in, so you'll notice I am strafing in this room. That's what you do by holding the B button. You save a second right there because the way that animation works is it pushes Luigi back when he gets startled. And you can turn Luigi so that he gets startled in the direction you're going. I didn't do the best job of that, but you can get an even better angle on that. As you see more instant turning with the strafe button. So right here, we're about to get a tutorial from Polterpup. starts with the Strobel, which returns from the last game, and then the usual vacuum functions. And then a new move called the Burst. So you'll notice I've been using that a little bit more than when you're first intended to learn it. It helps me skip celebration animations, which is going to come up quite a lot in this game. There are multiple methods to skip celebrations. In that instance, using the Burst is the best option there. So the Strobel flashes lights like these. And that's all we have for right now. We're going to get more gadgets as we go through this in the next split, so keep going. Another thing you'll notice is I go straight to the door handle. That just saves time over slowly walking up to it. If you press X anywhere else. So this is our first instance of combat. What I just did there is called a slam. So by pressing A as soon as the ghost hits the ground, you can do 5 slams in one tether. Normally people mash the A button because they don't know that you can actually time it and get 5 slams, which is exactly what I want. With these guys we only get 4, but there are ghosts with more health that you slam 5 times. What I tried to do there was overlap an animation with the Burst and his celebration there. What it would normally do is just lift this up so we can get the key. And right here, you'll see Luigi spun around with the key. That is the slowest key animation. So if we pick up keys, sometimes there's a designated animation, but times like that, it's random. And that was the slowest animation you can get there. So as we can see, EGAD is stuck in there. Luigi has to kind of wait, go through doors. Friend Polterpup here is from the previous game, Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon. So over here on the wall, you can't really see it, but I flashed another one of those lights with the Strobel, and we pick up another key. This is the best key animation, so there's a lot of variance. Up here, I'm going to set up a double. I did that earlier in the first fight. I set the goobs up so that I could get a double, just like that. That one is a bit easier to set up. So up here, I'm going to get the Dark Light, which also returns from Dark Moon. We found out that you can move during this little tutorial, so we move closer to the door. It doesn't actually save any time, but it's safer to go for that rather than just standing still. You have to wait for Polterpup to get to the door, that's why. We're gonna free EGAD, that's a feature we just saw with the Dark Light. Another thing it does is it reveals invisible objects, which will also show up a couple times. We're here running to the elevator. Around here, I think, could be another good time for donations for sure. A lot of the elevator cutscenes are going to be great times for donations. I'll explain what I do in the elevator in just a second once we're done with this segment. But first, we're going up to our first boss fight. This guy's name is Steward. We saw him earlier, right at the start. So the one cycle for this is 5 slams, a burst, and then repeat. we go diagonal here so that the buttons, elevator buttons, as you notice on the elevator, they're all missing, except for B1. There are going to be 2 elevator buttons, and we set ourselves up so that they land right on us, just like that. And then this is just a minute of mashing. So another great time for donations. Nothing important here. There are a couple times that we have to come back to the lab for various things going on within the game, so this will definitely not be the last time we're here. Luigi's device in this game, instead of a Game Boy or a DS, is a Virtual Boy. And this device is an elevator tracker. What I did there, in order to quickly menu through this game, you can use the D-pad and the left control stick. So I'll do that in the elevator and then after talking to EGAD in those situations. So that's the tracker that EGAD just gave us. We mash through this.
Oh yeah, here we go.
I normally split when the button enters the panel. That 5 will be important. That's the next floor we're going to. So here, this is the only EGAD dialogue that we skip with the plus button. He tells you to call him through the Virtual Boy, and so we call him, but we immediately hang up, and that counts. So pressing the plus button inside of the pause menu closes it. So this next floor has a couple tricks. We all of a sudden learn a new move called the suction shot, which is a plunger. We're going to use that right up here and for the boss fight. And of course, we'll use it all throughout the run. Up here is a little RNG time save. You're lucky enough, one of those paper towels on that cart right there can fall, and it can trigger a rat that is going to scare us. You'll see in just a second. One of these paper towels hits that rat, then you'll get startled and it saves like a second. So, hi there. So here, just another instance of setting up ghosts so that we can get to where we need to go. I mentioned earlier that you can skip celebrations with things like that burst. We can use the plunger or go through doors as a viable way of skipping celebration enemies. So it's faster to go through doors, but sometimes you don't really get a choice. So here's the next boss, Chambria. I'm gonna do the one cycle and explain it after. So her stun animation has just enough time to where you can loop it just like I did there. It's easiest to do it in that corner. There are a couple other corners in this room you can do, but they're a bit more inconsistent. So now we're gonna get the briefcase and we're gonna get the second to last upgrade for the poltergeist, but we won't see the last upgrade until like close to 2 hours in the So, but yeah, easy floor. Again, like I said, elevators and these little sections you can fill in with donations or whatever. So,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
and I'll explain what I do in elevators right here. This.
Oh, yeah.
What I do is I stand in this corner. You can stand all the way in the back right or back left corner, depending on what floor you're going on, but all it does is it helps build up a sprint faster. I find that standing here is easier to react to than all the way in the corner, so that way you get out of the doors sooner. And I have to be a little predictive. So right here, we're gonna unlock our companion for the rest of the run. His name is Luigi. We control both Luigi and Luigi. So earlier I showed you how goo pushing works. So we can push through that cage and skip this tutorial. This is the first instance of goo pushing in the run. And again, like I said earlier, that all ties back into the seed. If you don't have a good enough seed, then you can't do that. There are various spots to check getting a seed, but where I had it in the 15th floor, that's the best place to do it. We're actually going to skip that goo push, though. I only have a file with that just to test for seeds. That, because of the collision between the two gates that I pushed through, it's just more consistent. Easier to find a seed that way. Additionally, I just stand still in elevators. I don't know if it actually saves any time, but you know, doing other things in what are essentially just glorified loading zones could slow down the game, and for new floors, I don't want to do that. If it's floors you've been to, then you don't get that little cutscene, so. What I'm gonna do here, called a scare skip. So there's a little goo plush in this stall that scares Luigi, and then we zoom through the door, which saves about a second on the door, so. While still getting the key to this turnstile. So now, I like to call this floor the Luigi tutorial floor. We pick up the diamond key. As you can see back there, that's a star door, so the diamond key will not go to the star door. There's like a little special animation you can see of Luigi taking too long to figure out what key goes where. So the reason it's a Luigi tutorial floor is the only way to get into the shops is with Luigi, since he can go through objects and yeah. He melts with water, as we saw earlier with that goo push. So you have to be careful of that. Sometimes use it to our advantage. So what I do here is I set up so Luigi catches that key, and while he's celebrating, I switch to Luigi so that he can move closer to this escalator, which will be useful later. Now we're moving to the bottom right. We got the heart key, that cash register. And we go here. New enemy type. These ones are called mini goobs. And they are the exact same as the blue ghosts we've seen so far, just tiny. So right behind this wall is obviously a bunch of coins, and we start vacuuming the coins before the wall is even revealed. Thankfully, we can do that. Yeah, these guys are called mini goobs. See them a couple times throughout the game. They are better than another type of mini ghost we'll see later. So these are the easiest ghosts to catch. So right here, we do kind of an overlap. So we start the dark light, and for some reason the action does not stop during the cutscene. We do quotation marks, since we're not busy right now. Sorry, depth of perception. But that just allows us to reveal the hidden cash register. So I got the best key animation there, so I can actually move a little bit before this cutscene starts, just to get closer to the goop. Saves a little time. So now goops will start having glasses, which means there's an extra step to being able to flash them with the strobe light. Easiest way to get rid of it, though, is just to burst. So we swap over to Luigi here, start this cutscene so that we can have Luigi go down the escalator and catch up with Luigi. A little bit of multitasking. Now we're going to the club room. There's a barber shop. Yeah. Pretty simple rest of the floor. There's one more fight before the boss fight, but I will explain that as we get there. Another quick key animation. We always hope for those. So right here, there's a couple of these throughout the game, just random unskippable cutscenes that aren't actually cutscenes, but are at the same time. But that cutscene kills Luigi. We run up this escalator. There's technically another goo push on this floor, but there's a chance of the game crashing if you do it, so I don't do it. Right here, we're about to see an enemy called the Hammer, which if you played Dark Moon or 2HD, now that that's out, you'll notice that they're very similar to Slimers, even the same color and everything. Something cool about them is they have two tails, so both Luigi and Luigi can tether at once. That's the quickest way to take care of that guy. So now we have the star key and we're ready to fight the boss. Boss's name is Cruller, and that's the name of a donut. Pretty cool. I know I said earlier that the fastest way to get rid of glasses is bursting, but it's actually easier to just vacuum them off here so he doesn't go anywhere we don't want him to. And the one cycle for this is pretty simple. You slam him 4 times into Luigi's vacuum like that, then you burst, flash again, and then slam 5 times. It has to be 4 times, just because that animation is something we like to call slam stunning. He won't fully go away since we haven't done all 5 slams. Normally ghosts will disappear if you slam them less than 100 HP, or more than 100 HP, I'll say. But yeah, all of these, like, running back to the elevator scenes are good times for donations and everything, so. So the next floor we're going to is, it's going to be one we've already visited, actually. It's the 2nd floor, but a different part of it, so. Here is an instance of This is not technically a new floor, so there's no cutscene here. So what I do here, I have Luigi slam that while Luigi goes to the door. Just a little bit faster rather than having Luigi do all the work. Like I said before, there are a couple of those cutscenes that aren't really cutscenes, but you still have to watch what we just did, and up here, Polterpup eating a baguette, so. Right here is the first instance of more than, what, 3 ghosts at once, besides the mini goops, so it's gonna get hectic. Unfortunately, ghost patterns are RNG, so I'm gonna do my best to get a 6-piece and go from there. I have Luigi hold the cheese here. I flash these ghosts, got a 6-piece. Get a little notification for doing that. And that was a pretty quick combo. Not the best I've ever had, but another instance of holding out the plunger there. And now we're on the boss fight. This floor is not yet over. But I will explain the boss fight after I do it. Okay, so these burners deal 40 damage every other slam. If you've been paying attention so far, each slam deals 20 damage, so 40 every other slam is pretty nice. And so what we do is we use that watermelon to hit him while he's in his like stun lock animation. It's a bit convoluted, but it saves a good amount of time. So, how we do it. Here we have to see a rat on top of more cheese. Now we're still chasing down another rat. This one is going into the billiards room, which will introduce us to a new enemy type. And they are quite annoying. If you remember hiders from Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, they are basically those. So, and those 3 cabinets in the back, those are completely RNG where the mouse is hiding, but we can't get to them just yet. So this enemy is called the Oozer, like I said, just like the hiders. Drop Luigi there. Set Luigi up over here. So that he'll be close to the door. What I'm hoping that I guess correctly here, then swap to Luigi, just like that. We see the rat, and then Luigi will immediately run through the door. He'll get scared, just like that. I'm gonna try and do a scare skip here. Okay, I was a little late, I think. But by dropping Luigi, you can sometimes skip little scares that, I mean, as you just saw, lose like a second or two, so. So the mice are all on this toilet. Our goal is to flash the one that's glowing like that. Get rid of all the food blocking the door. Luigi go in, grab the button, and we're done. So before we get to the next floor, first I'll mention this is the fastest elevator in the game. It's from the second floor to B1. Because earlier when we saved EGAD, we skipped his dialogue box, and then a second or two later, the elevator went down. So this is right here. We're unlocking the shop, which we will never use. You'll notice I've been kind of not really avoiding, but just not collecting money or anything. This is a pretty bare bones run. You don't need anything for this run, and he gives you this gold bone for free, so we take it. You'll see for the final boss why we need it, but right now he is setting up the poltergeist so that we can check for booze, but we don't need any booze, any gems, any money for this run. So we're just gonna go to the 4th floor. He's calling us here to tell us about the boo. But we don't need it. We actually have the world record for the all booze category. So this floor is the reason why, as you'll notice on my splits, it says any % legacy. So on versions 1.0 to 1.3 of this game, there's a skip that you can do on this floor that skips fighting the boss, which saves about 2 minutes. But on the current patch, they patched it out. And you will see why we're able to do it once we get there, but first we skip another EGAD call. You'll notice in the bottom right corner that we've been seeing the save icon a lot. So this game has an autosave feature, which is why we're able to do this trick. About 7 or 8 seconds in between going through a door or some other checkpoint save like this. Next time you go through a door, it'll autosave. So we use that to kind of break the game a little bit. Ends up deleting this boss fight. So this boss fight is Amadeus, based on Mozart. What we're gonna do, we're gonna goo push up here. First try. Put Luigi in this corner. So right here, you'll see there's an X prompt for a door. Technically, we could go through it right now, but it would mess things up. And we could technically save the toad out of the painting, but it would softlock and not respawn. So what we have to do is we have to wait here up on stage for all these chairs to be thrown at us. I like to position Luigi here because there's a little gauntlet right before we do the skip for the boss fight. And the skip is, it doesn't save as much time as it could because putting out and loading in this game is very slow. So, okay, so now that that's over, I have a setup that I like to do for this floor. Get a double here. Okay. So that was a really good sequence. So after you beat the ghosts, you don't want to immediately go through the door. If I did, I would hard lock the game, and the only way to get out is to close the game, which, like I mentioned earlier, would lose our seed. So we don't want that. And so you go through the door a little bit after finishing, finishing that gauntlet. You skip the cutscene, you go back through, you wait 7 or 8 seconds. And then, yeah. we get the button without ever fighting the boss. And the way they patch that, you'll notice that there's been a lot of purple gates that gets put up during ghost encounters. For some reason, they didn't put ghost gates on that door, and so that makes us able to skip the boss fight. They patched it, I think, because you can get a hard lock. No fun allowed, but that's why I run on this patch. Saves an easy 2 minutes.
Yellow.
We're gonna be close to my gold here, actually. It's a very good floor.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so yeah, floor is fun. This next floor, because of goo pushing, we're able to completely skip the floor. So if I messed up that trick, unfortunately this floor might not have been possible. I still would have tried it, but given that the seed is completely RNG, I'm glad I don't have to deal with it. This is actually one of the longer floors in the game, but we're able to skip it. I will show you why. You can technically goo push through this gate here, but I don't go for it. It's not very consistent. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do, once Luigi's done looking around, I'm going to set him up over here, push him through this first gate. And then we get here. I do kind of a different angle than other people here, but we push him straight through, just like that. And we start the boss fight, and we can complete the floor normally. If you want to go back through the floor, you either have to watch the cutscene that unlocks the floor, or load a story checkpoint. So what I'm going to go for here is, you remember he's been running around the arena. There's a way to skip cycles on that by kind of doing what I did there with Luigi. I hope to at least get it a little bit. It's more consistent than it was. If not, I got good time on the goo pushes anyways, so yeah, unfortunately not. It's not super consistent, but it is more consistent than the way we used to do it. And there's a way to skip all three. Well, besides the first cycle, there's a way to skip the second and third cycles of him just running around like this. So the one cycle for this boss is simultaneously pretty simple. Just because it's simple does not mean it's easy. He has 200 health, and what you're doing is you're dragging him down to 100. And slamming. But it's very easy if you miss one drag angle. He could be at 101, and then you'd have to wait for him to attack all slow-like. So I set up Luigi so that the button will land by him. You'll notice that's something I'm going to try to do on floors that it applies to. This floor is one of them. Technically, the fourth floor is as well, one we were just on, but we can't do it based on how the skip works, so. But yeah, really good floor. started doing it in that corner because you can do it in the back corner of that gate, but for some reason, no matter what seed I get, it doesn't like to work there, so. These instances here again, of course, great ways to have donations being read and everything. Nothing too important going on, just getting back to the elevator.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't gotten a run yet that's gotten the full armor cycle skip, but this was a really good floor, so absolutely we'll take it. We had a theoretical skip for this next floor where we would be able to skip it pretty much entirely, but we found out that this floor in particular, some others further on, have like very specific story triggers. But this one, you need to watch every unskippable and skippable cutscene in order for the button to spawn, excuse me, at the top of this big plant. So we're now working our way up. Cutscenes like this, you have to watch for whatever reason. This first room, I'm going to do a little bit of setting up with Luigi for the ghosts that are going to spawn. That's the way I set up ghosts, just like that. Oop. Thank you for the follow. We burst to get rid of the leaves here, and we keep moving. So right here, this plant is gonna throw pineapples at us. You don't need to time it or anything, you just run straight up and it takes care of that. In here, we're gonna meet a new enemy called the Slinker, which is like the sneaker in LM2. Like the hammer, it also has two tails, so you can get a double tether, but you don't always need to go for it. So I set up the hammer here to get another double tether, just like that. I drain below 160 because they deal enough damage to take care of it, just like that. You have to pause a little bit in between the two pineapples there. But cutscenes like this, you have to watch in order to fully progress the floor. So here's the chainsaw. You can technically use this to cut everything down in this room, even the grass, but obviously we don't do it. It is fun to do, so if you've ever played this game and you haven't done that, give it a try. I'm gonna set up here. I use Luigi here because sometimes a dust cloud can spawn, just like that. If it does, it can make Luigi sneeze and break tether with ghosts. So I just swapped to Luigi there. He's unaffected. He's not a breathing creature, so I'm sure that's why. Here I use another cutscene overlap. Luigi pushed this plant down so that we can walk across it like a bridge. And then I have Luigi moving during the cutscene, so. I've gotten some runs where this goes all the way and sometimes where it just goes like that. I have to move off camera because whenever you use the vacuum, it makes the map go away. So now we're gonna run up here. You won't see it, but the boss destroys that part of the floor. We can get a... Okay, so you can frame perfect spawn Luigi there. If he doesn't break like he just did, then you can pull this cart over that has a mushroom, but letting you bounce just like this. But unfortunately, it's very common for him to break just like that, so I'll say. So here, I'm gonna spawn Luigi. While Luigi's taking care of this, a gold goob is in that hammock and lets us just speed right through the door, so. We have another goop push coming up here. Hopefully I don't soft walk. Obviously if I do, reset or anything, but. Focus. I pull down that plant to activate the last cutscene trigger. So Luigi can sometimes fall directly to the right in soft lock. So obviously we avoid that. But we're able to pull the plant from both sides, or from that side I should say, and now we're on to the boss. There are two one cycles that you can do for this boss. I opt to go for the slower but easier one. So he has a piranha plant-like plant. We cut it down with a chainsaw, and all we need to do, it's very similar to the last boss, but instead of draining and slamming right away, we have to wait until he's to 100. So by holding on, and then when he throws us off, just like that, we flash him, then he doesn't go away. Otherwise, this boss fight is actually pretty slow if you do it like this. So. That saves some time. We're doing the boss fight normally, and now we're done with the floor. One last little thing we have to do here. I use Luigi to grab this watering can. The little vine is gonna appear here. We'll water it, and then Luigi can go up to get the button, and we're done with this floor, so. There's another goo push you can do right here, but it's also very inconsistent, so I don't go for it. It requires Luigi to be the one to collect the button, not Luigi, so just don't deal with it. Doesn't save that much time anyways. Overall, very good floor. Mishaps, but this next floor has a very daunting trick. New runners. What it is, if you remember in Dark Moon, there were portals that you could go through. They brought those back in this game. They just look different. They're TVs now. So you can bring items through portals in Dark Moon. That's what they were used for. We do the same thing on this floor. If you're thinking, well, why didn't you just goo push up there and skip activating the TV? I haven't checked it on this seed, but Only very specific seeds can actually go push up there because the invisible wall they put on there is so high and so difficult to deal with that there's basically no way, unless you're super lucky, to be able to push up there. So it's another weird inconsistency of this game. What I'm doing right now is I'm just activating the rooms for the puzzle. We're skipping part of the puzzle, which is why I mentioned that it's kind of a daunting trick for new runners. In this next room, there's a torch. We're gonna warp it down. It gets stuck on a piece of collision that makes it think it's out of bounds. And when items are out of bounds in this game, and the game realizes it, it sends the item straight to you. But it's not actually, but we use it anyways. So, hopefully I get it first try. Pull it back. I'm gonna swap to Luigi. It's a bit quicker. Please. Just like that. Spawn straight to us. And we skip having to go through one of the rooms. That bucket there, we're gonna have to use it. I'm pointing to my monitor, like you can see what I'm pointing to, but that bucket there that was right outside the TV. Up here, we're gonna fight 3 goobs and a hammer. The goal of this room is to obviously light the torch on fire, but we're gonna wait until we're done with all the ghosts before we do that. So I'm gonna drop this. Oh. Defeat them. Gonna get closer to the torch. I'm gonna be as close to the fire as possible, if possible. I think I'll probably be a little too far away just because of where the torch rolled to. What I'm doing here, I intentionally destroy this sign out here. Just for later. Makes things easier. Give Luigi the torch. It's on fire now. So we're going into the last room. And here, there's a giant fake spider that we burn with the torch, and we get the megaphone. So the ghost that's been crying the whole time, kind of in the middle, his name is Morty, or Oscar in French. Reference to the Oscars, I think. And he wants his megaphone, so we did all of those puzzles just to give it back to him. So now we're on the boss fight. We don't actually fight him, he's just directing a movie. We're fighting a goob in a Godzilla costume. Or kaiju, you could say. So what I'm doing here, I do a specific pattern with my flash so that he does the same attacks every time. So we get this attack, the giant energy ball that you need both Luigi and Luigi to hit him with. So that first time only needed to flash once, this time we only need to flash 2 times. And the way I have him set up here is intentional. Once he gets hit by this energy ball, we can despawn Luigi and have him run over and defeat him very quickly. So you don't actually need to mash super fast on that. The speed doesn't matter, it's just as long as you're mashing. I'm gonna despawn Luigi, send him over. I got caught on a building, but that's okay. And there we go. It's the floor. But it's definitely not the last of it we're seeing. If you've been paying attention and noticed, we're able to start this cutscene basically immediately. That's because we're on the first tracking section of the game. So this is Polterkitty. So we have to go back through some of this floor that we just completed, and then the 7th floor, as you can see on my splits. So. You've been seeing Polterpup all throughout this run so far. Polterpup acted as kind of backtracking in Dark Moon. So we have that, but a different animal this time. Thankfully, we know exactly where it goes, just like Polterpup. It's the same every time. Gonna get hit here. Okay. To beat those ghosts, Polterkitty comes back out. And the way this works is Polterkitty stalks. And if you turn around as Luigi before that animation right there that I just flashed, then she gets startled and runs away. So using Luigi, she just doesn't register that Luigi is looking at her, so it saves on some time there. He's going up here to the lighting area, so I'm gonna drop Luigi here so we can send her to the 7th floor. I'll put Luigi here, so there's a golden rat under one of these trays. What it does is it stops Luigi from being sad in that area. He does a little like, oh, we let it get away animation, but you can skip it with that rat. So this is the first instance of haunted item. This is the haunted trash can. It's not very annoying here, but it will be on a future floor. So. Spawn Luigi there just to get an easy double on those ghosts. Set up Luigi here. I didn't just leave Luigi out for no reason. You know, put him away for no reason. Up here is a scare skip that I'm going to try and get. A little slow. I'm gonna get hit by the bats. And I got hit by a snake. Okay, so that's the worst thing that could have happened. I'll just kill them. Okay, this is gonna get this hard actually. Anyways, so normally you would skip all of that, but I did terribly, so too worried about it though. Right here, I'm gonna leave Luigi. Keeps Luigi's running speed. And after we go, it's fine. Fortunately, not enough speed to zoom through the door there, but Polter Kitty's hiding in there, hoping. Yeah. It's all pretty self-explanatory. So the first time we did that to Polter Kitty, I switched to Luigi so he could get close to the door. I don't do that here because it lets us get through the door before he does this animation. Polter Kitty is in that pile of leaves in the back. So we set ourselves up to do that, then go back upstairs. Always get hit by the spiders, they're always in the way. Up here, this is the last new type of ghost. It's called the Trapper. We don't really see them that often. Another instance where I'm gonna swap to Luigi, just in case there's a dust cloud. Okay, spawn over here. Nope. Okay, and that's the Polter Kitty segment. I have Luigi run into the water here, so we can position Luigi close to the button. Kind of bounces for a second, and then we collect it. Send Luigi through there. I'm gonna do a goo push here to get back down, rather than go the normal way. I hold strafe there just to prevent any soft locks that could happen. And we're done with the segment. We're losing a bit of time due to the bats and the snake, but not a huge deal.
Oh, yeah. Ha ha. Yeah. Oh. Oh yeah.
If you remember, like the fourth floor, this next floor is a floor where you save a toad, and basically all you do is go in, fight the boss, and leave. There's a couple of those throughout the game. Get a nice little Night at the Museum reference here with the T-Rex. Gonna try and dark light the painting, but in that cutscene we just skipped, he eats the painting. So we gotta save Toad. By using these eggs, he eats Luigi, and then we use the eggs to hit the chest, which is the weak spot. In 1.4, for some reason, they made this boss harder than it needed to be. Just this specific section. They added more invincibility frames on various attacks, but you don't really have to deal with that here. Not a terrible dino fight. I've definitely had faster. But this is Ugg. This is the real boss. So we do have a 1 cycle for this. It is kind of difficult. But basically what we do is we drain him to 280. We spawn Luigi. 1, 2. We flash him. And if you do it correctly, then you can tether onto him. But unfortunately, I think I flashed... I didn't get a fully charged one. So fortunately, we're not saving time on this. That is okay. Not the worst 9F, but as you can see, it's a very quick floor. Also, that egg is still up there. I thought it was supposed to be destroyed. I've had it happen sometimes where the first egg that we use doesn't get destroyed. I don't know if it's the speed. It's just floating up there. That's awesome. Getting a picture of that for sure. Yeah, now we have the next toad. And say goodbye. You guy calls us after we save toads to tell us that we still have another toad. And then Mario and Peach to save. Because both Mario and Peach went with us. Okay. Now, we're not going to the 10th floor, we're going to the 2nd basement floor, called the Boiler Works in English. It used to be one of the more tedious floors to deal with. And it still kind of is, but the skip we have for it is very enjoyable. So hopefully I can get it first try so you can see what it's all about. You won't see it, but the boss of this floor, his name is Clem. He activated that water there. Obviously it doesn't affect anything. We don't want Luigi to run into it. I'm gonna do something interesting here. I'm gonna have Luigi unlock the door. I'm gonna have Luigi open it because Luigi can open doors. Gonna get a triple here. Just like that, we're done with the little gauntlet there. This puzzle is pretty easy. Just have them all to the right and then to the left. Have Luigi flash the light and to activate the door, and then it's just easier to swap to Luigi by doing that. Having Luigi die water. I'm gonna bring this platform over to Luigi, just scare him with the rat, and run over here. So you won't see it in this cutscene, but our good friend Clem just activated the water in the Boiler Works. So now we can't get to where we need to go just yet. We have to traverse over there. And we do that via rubber ducky boat. So it'll be interesting. Go push down here. I'll explain after I do it. A lot of moving parts all at once. If I were to have a commentator, it would be nice to have one. But what I just did is a buffer, an X prompt buffer. So we can go out of bounds by doing what we just did. So by having Luigi vacuum, he's storing the X prompt, and so Luigi flashes Luigi like you just saw there. However, I was also holding the L button, so L and R work as the R is the stun, L is the plunger, and then both of them together is the dark light, and also just pressing the X button. I don't really use it for that, but I use it for that trick and one on the last floor. And by doing that and holding straight down, it lets us be able to get out of bounds. You'll notice I waited just kind of like a second in the rubber ducky, kind of floating throughout the platform. We'll point it out once we get up here. Yeah, I waited a second on this platform, and then you can push through the wall. So where I was specifically, I looked for a visual cue to push back into that room where we went, and we just skipped the floor. I didn't do the great job of explaining it, but it's a lot of complicated moving parts. If there were a glitch showcase for this game, it would be a good place to do that, is to show that off. Because it's so complicated to explain in a run, especially as you're doing it. And you just have to try it for yourself if you're interested. It's not a trick based on the seed, which is nice. And now we're on the boss. We're back in a rubber ducky float. We were barely in to begin with. Kind of a complicated one cycle here with Luigi, flash burst, drain to 80, 5 slams, a well-timed flash, and that's the one cycle. That's definitely one of the harder one cycles to learn, but once you get it, it's pretty. Now we're done with the floor. There's 2 ways to do that boss fight. There's a consistent way to do that that's a little bit easier, not faster though, because what I do here is I pull one of the bombs over. What it does is it makes me skip this ladder. That's pretty easy to pull off, so. That's the floor. You'll notice I did a few goo pushes here and there just to skip ladders and stuff. Just easy. Amidst all of that, we do have a no major skips category that bans all goo pushing, and the trick we just did on this floor, Amadeus skip, armor cycle skip, just stuff like that. You are interested in this game, but don't want to run any percent right away. Good place to start. Next up is the 10th floor, the Tomb Suites. If you've played this game before, you'll know that this floor is full of sand all over the place. I think my first playthrough, I went through and vacuumed up all of the sand in this next room. You don't get anything special for it, but it was a lot of fun. Yes, this room. We barely interact with it here, but in all gems, all collectibles, and 100%, there are a few gems, a few money spots if you need money to get here, so. I was actually stuck on this puzzle for a long time. I didn't know that you could pull down the arm of that statue. First time ever playing this game. But we just go through. And now we're down here. What I'm gonna do here, spawn Luigi to help clear some of the sand, pull down the statue's arm. Hopefully this snake here will not hit us, as we saw how annoying those can be on the Polterkitty segment. What they do is they slow you down. Which is obviously not good for a speed run. Just wait for those bats to spawn, and then flash them. Get rid of them. Unfortunately, there's no real skip for this floor. We have a 1 cycle, but that's about it. The rest of this floor is just pure skill based. So in here is a gem ghost. You'll be wondering, well, why are you releasing a gem ghost? No reason other than spook speed. So you'll see mummies and eventually slinkers can inhabit, or slinkers and goobs can inhabit mummies like that. So those return from Dark Moon. They're very easy to deal with in this game compared to Dark Moon because you can just burst to knock them over. Pulled out the dark light there, just waiting for the slinker. And that's this room. I actually died to this room in my first playthrough. I had a lot of trouble in my first playthrough, this floor in particular. Get ready for incessant screaming from that gem ghost. It does not stop. Which is nice. It's nice that it doesn't despawn like old ghosts would, but I need it for spook speed. So I'm gonna leave Luigi here. See why in just a second. Swap to Luigi. What I'm doing is I'm activating a ball trap so that hopefully there's a gauntlet after this room that I want that ball trap to help clear some of the mummies. Get rid of their bandages. This room is a poison room. These shapes on the wall, we have to find the matching shapes. So, circle, those two, circle. Cube and square, where or triangle. Sorry, go where they go. It was not bad. Trying to commentate that and focus on multitasking is a little tough, but that's that room. Also a good place to get hearts back. As you can see, we're at 94 instead of 50 something, whatever we were at before. What I'm hoping for in this next room is that the boulder is going to roll a specific way. and it will hit a slinker that's in a mummy costume kind of far away. So we'll see if it happens. It doesn't often happen to me. I don't get lucky enough for it, but set up here to get rid of this slinker and goo. Listening for a sound cue right now. Hoping, no, it did not get hit, unfortunately. If you don't hear that low groaning sound, the mummy, then you got it, but unfortunately I did not. So we're going through the last room here. This is a little bit of a weight puzzle. They actually made DLC for this game that has mini games that feature this idea of using the sand for weight and other objects. The objects are the same every time, and I pretty much know how to eyeball how much sand I need. I'm gonna get rid of a little bit just for safety, but okay, because Luigi was not technically on the weight at the time. That didn't go through, but we're fine. Just losing a little bit of time. This game can be a little finicky sometimes, so you just have to be very careful about it. What you're trying to do here is hit all of these mini hammers with the big hammer, but I did not get that lucky. Those are the more annoying mini ghosts to fight that I alluded to earlier. But here we're just waiting for the sand to rise back up. Obviously, we're going to ignore hitting that gem ghost. But this is a long auto-scroller, so it doesn't really matter how long I take defeating all these ghosts, since I'm just waiting for it to get all the way up to these stairs. I think we checked, even if you could get up to this door, I think you still need the room to be in this state in order to progress. Another strict story trigger, unfortunately. Because the gem ghost was very close to Luigi there, you're able to just run straight through the door, just like that. And now we're on to the boss fight. This boss's name is Serpsy, and her one cycle is like the last floor, very difficult, but you know, as you get used to how it works, it's easier. But and lose a lot of time if you mess it up. So I'm gonna focus in on this one. This is the faster attack to get, or just easier attack to deal with. Basically, she makes these giant sand things. What I do is I generally drain her to around this HP. 1, 2, 3, spawn Luigi, vacuum, flash, and then Luigi, or whatever Luigi brother is active at the moment will vacuum her back up. It's easiest to do it just like that. So. And that saves a lot of time over doing the boss fight moment. So. A lot of unfortunate things on this floor, but it's a very tough floor since it's so long. It is the longest floor in the game. And no skips for it have been found, unfortunately. The next floor can also be very brutal. But we'll get into that once we get there. These ghosts are called Nikki, Lindsay, and Ginny, which, you know, coincidentally or not, spell out NLG, which is Next Level Games, made this game. So, shoutouts to them. So I didn't explain what those are. Those are called spirit orbs. I have Luigi fetch them there. It's a little bit faster to do that. I'm pulling that saw right there for a reason you'll see soon. We have another haunted trash can here, but that one we can actually ignore. It doesn't create any ghostly barriers that we have to deal with, so. This door to our right is locked, so we have to go through here. This is the other haunted item, a haunted trash can. They're similarly very easy to deal with. In this next room, I'm gonna burst here. I don't need it for anything right now, but eventually I need to go through there for something later on in the run, so. Here I'm gonna have Luigi pull this. Again, that'll be for something later. Now I'm gonna drop Luigi down here. Dark light where the door is supposed to be. Vacuum. And go back through. So here, a little early on that. Okay. The key turned into a rabbit because of these evil spirit orbs. What I tried to do there was have Luigi get startled by the crow, but I was a little slow on that. Okay, I got the quickest key animation anyways. So. Just going back through these rooms. Even though we've seen haunted items so far, you'll notice we haven't seen any ghosts yet besides the bosses, so that's about to change. They kind of remix this floor, make a bunch of ghosts spawn. This is our first encounter of the floor. So inside of this buzzsaw is old ghosts, and we need them for spook speed at the end of this floor. We do that, switch to Luigi, and speed through the room. I'm gonna try and avoid, there's a haunted trash can in the bottom right there. I'm gonna activate that, get more spook speed. Gonna destroy that fan in the middle because it can break your tether if the oozers pull you in. I didn't mention it earlier in dealing with them on the second floor, but they have random drag angles. Oh, he went over to the right. For whatever reason. Which makes them very difficult to deal with. That was a decent room. I didn't lose as much time as you normally can in that room. So in here, we can actually tether the hammer right away, just like this, without having to flash in. Just saves on some time there. Alright, so this next spot, called stage skip, I'm going to try and not soft lock. Hopefully I get it first, second try. I'm gonna try it over here. It is kind of inconsistent. I'm losing a lot of time here. What we're trying to do is we're trying to get on top of the stage. Like this. And what we do is we skip having to fight these ghosts. I have Luigi get hit right here while he's doing celebration animation, and it spawns more gold goobs. So now, right at the end, we can just blast through all of the doors. Nice little setup that we have. So that wasn't the best showing, but this room is actually going kind of well. I actually lost a lot of time on this to PB, so. This floor can go a lot worse than it did. The worst thing that happened was just, unfortunately, goo push. I haven't really tested it with the seed that I currently have, so. This boss fight employs, if you've ever seen, you know, hiding the ball under the hat trick, swapping it around, and you have to guess where the ball is. That's basically what this is. I don't actually know what that's called, but I normally follow the one that's in the middle. Some people follow wherever the bomb is, but the goal is to not choose the bomb. We got a fast hat movement there. The amount of time they take swapping places can be super long sometimes, or super short, just like that, so. And there's one more. At this point, it might be a good time for donations, as long as I can focus on where the correct hat is. I like to follow with my head like that. It's easier for me. I didn't mean to swap, but yeah, we're fine. And now we're just running through. Sometimes you can get spook speed through there, but now we're just running through the rest of the floor. That's why we activate all those gold ghosts, is just to save time here. Unfortunately, not getting the goo push right away was very slow for this, so it would be the equivalent of having a bad gauntlet. If you'll see on my sub-splits, the next segment is the Boiler Works revisit. So we go to the 12th floor first, but as us revisit B2 for our last and final upgrade, Poltergeist. First thing we have to do here, up to the ship, we have to look inside, and then EGAD calls us. I'm gonna mash the minus and plus button. And he asks us to come back to the lab. On the 4th floor, we got a call from EGAD right at the start, if you remember. And that was him telling us that we can travel to the lab whenever we want. We only use it once, and it's right here. Technically, you can go to B1 in the elevator, but that is much slower than just doing this, so. What he did here is he sent one of the toads that we rescued after the upgrade that we need. So, now we're off to B2. Short little break for donations here. So another haunted trash can here. Nothing too crazy to deal with. What I'm doing here is I'm getting rid of this because there are oozers coming up that could hide in that, but I'll deal with it, so. A little slow, but not the worst I've ever had in this room. So the toad, we didn't see it in the video, but he is hiding behind this box. You can burst through the wall just like that. And that's that. spawn Luigi here. Grab Toad with Luigi. Pull down this ladder. Oh. I was a little afraid because he despawned there, but... And then... So they definitely did not intend for Luigi to be the one to pick this up, because this happens. But we can send Luigi over there to go get that. So, next. We call this Slinker Skip. So, I'm going to do 2 goo pushes, I'm going to focus, then I will explain after. Maybe. We'll give it a few more tries here. Okay. So we get Luigi up here. We walk on Toad's head after opening the cabinet. And we go over here. I almost had it there. And we push Luigi over an invisible wall there. That's why it did it like that. And I missed all of the scare skips there, so that's why I was spawning Luigi frantically. Didn't work out, unfortunately, but... So not a very good showcase of those goo pushes on first try, but... We are trying to get Toad to break that brick wall. Trying to bounce him like that. Sometimes you can get him to teleport to you with the wheel that you need for this door, but fortunately he did not want to do that. This is not a very good showing at all of this segment, but you get the general idea how it works. So we shoot Toad at this wall. Another one of these fans that turns this platform in the middle. Thankfully, the way Toad works in this game is even if you're at a door and he's super far away, he'll teleport to you. In Dark Moon, you had to wait for him to be with you. So, they fixed that for this game. Right here. Gonna try and set up for a double. So Slinkers in this game can grab Toads, and if they pull them down into a portal, you instantly game over. So we try and avoid that. See? And I did get that, so at least we have that. I'm gonna do here. Set up in the elevator again. For B1, we're going to return Toad to the lab. Drop Luigi here. Burst. I have him send that Slinker over to Luigi. Saves a little bit of time. Okay, that was slow. But the segment is almost over. Gonna go over and split. And the best visual glitch in the game happens here. I think because of the way that we're doing that slinker skip on B2 and just the speed of which we do this segment. Luigi is just standing in the corner. Right now he's supposed to be in frame handing the poltergeist, but he's over by the door for whatever reason. Invisible and grabbing the poltergeist. And if you menu over to the Explore Hotel option, very quickly, Luigi will run back to the middle of the lab, and you can see the camera pan straight into his character model. See wireframe stuff. But now we're actually going to the 12th floor. As the segment is called, the Spectral Catch. The upgrade we unlocked gives us the ability to have this huge vacuum power. It's called the super suction. And after this, we never use it again. So they made us do all of that on B2 just to get an upgrade that we only use once. Technically, it gives us 7 slams now instead of 5, which is nice, which we will use on this boss fight. Spoiler alert, this is another floor that you instantly go fight the boss, save a toad, and leave. And it's the last one with a toad, so. This boss is called Fishhook, and there's a 1 cycle for it that breaks his AI, which hopefully I can show. If not, I know I have a clip of it and we'll show after the run. But we're hoping to get it here. This first part is pretty easy. You have to just not do that. You have to wait for him to open his mouth and then fire these bombs into it. And then the actual boss starts. We're gonna hope to get the 1 cycle. Okay, so first thing we're gonna do is drag him down to 261 HP. Oh. Losing a little bit of time here. Okay, next step, we're gonna do a frame perfect buffer. Hopefully it works. Okay, no. We'll obviously try it one more time. It saves 2 minutes-ish if you get it, so. Okay, we got it. The way you can tell, I have rumble on my controller, and if you feel rumble when you get Fishhook to act like that, you break his AI. That little sequence that I was doing, letting you skip 2 phases of this boss fight that are very slow. So it's a frame perfect trick. The buffer helps but you still need to be very precise with it. But yeah, that's Fishhook 1 cycle. Thought I could show it off. Second try. There's a phase where he goes into the boat again and tries to eat you. It's very slow. Obviously, the skip is banned in no major skips, as it breaks his AI, and we count that as a major skip. So. Now we have the final toad on the way to the elevator. Even losing a little bit of time to the setup for this boss fight is more worth than actually going for it and then missing. So. One thing I'll mention here, on this floor and 4th floor, you can activate that cutscene of the toad going, down the elevator. Excuse me. You can activate that from anywhere, but only on the 9th floor with that toad do you have to actually go to the button to properly activate the cutscene. So it's weird, but this next floor is my favorite floor in the game. And it has a complete RNG section that can just lose you 20 seconds. In one of the rooms, there are 3 bikes and 3 treadmills, and a key is in one of them. You want to guess the correct one. There's no tell for it, unfortunately. So we're gonna hope we get bike 1. That is the boss of the floor. His name is Johnny Deep End. That was slow, but good fight. Set up Luigi there to attack the Slinker. By holding A through that door, that stops Luigi from getting scared by the gates coming down. I don't know why, but just by holding A, skip an animation. So, good for this floor. In this room, you skip fighting these 2 hammers by holding out the dark light. So. Don't know why it works, but it is one of the easiest tricks in the game. Unfortunately, we got second to worst RNG. That first bike that we checked can save you a lot of time if you get it. Like I said, it's complete RNG. It's like the cabinets earlier on the 2nd floor. You can't really tell. With that one, you can tell after a certain amount of time, but not there. Here, if you'll notice, I was actually able to get it. I skipped scare animations of Luigi being startled by the ground falling beneath his feet. I also opened the chest again while collecting the key. That just stops him from celebrating with the key. Simple little trick. So here, the gimmick is that all of the ghosts are invisible. Boom, we do that. Defeat the hammer. Please. Try and set up for a double tether, not in that way, but just in some way. And here, you can't really tell because it's clear as day in here, but it's supposed to be very foggy right now. It's just a visual bug that sometimes happens. It's nicer when it happens like this, though, because you can easily tell what's going on. It's not too difficult when it is actually the way it's supposed to be. Okay. Okay. So that wasn't the best gauntlet. But now we're on the boss fight. And he's in a pool, and obviously a pool means water, so we avoid that so that he does not spawn Luigi. Hit him with the volley or the dodgeball just like that. Swap to Luigi here. And he only has 60 health, so it didn't work right away, but you can slam him straight into that little grate there in the middle. And by collecting the button, that spawns Luigi down with us, so now we move on. You'll notice though, the next split says Polterkitty 2, so we are not done with Polterkitty just yet. She does reappear. But this is the last time we have to deal with Polterkitty. So if you'll notice on the splits, it's taking us through 13th floor a little bit, then the 12th floor, and then the 11th. That means we're very close to being done. Like I said, with the first Polterkitty, we know exactly where she is, so. Send Luigi over there. Nope. The reason I have Luigi in this specific spot is I want the ghosts come over here so that I can set up for a 5-piece. And as this hammer spawns, these goobs with hats are about to spawn. And getting rid of the hats is fast like that. Normally you have to burst them off, but oops. And that's the fight. Not the best I've ever had, but still pretty quick. What I'm gonna do in here is there's another gem ghost that I can spawn, but I won't, because that's a little bit slower. But it can scare Luigi a little bit, so. Oop. I wanted Luigi to be the one tethering so that Luigi can run over here. But as Polterkitty goes down to the 12th floor, the gem ghost is ringing that bell, which we can get spook speed from. So. We're gonna set ourselves back up in this corner. Polterpup is riding the elevator with us, which is pretty cool. More scare skips coming up throughout this segment. I missed both. It's okay. Polterkitty is over here to the right. But this is all we need to deal with on this floor. Polterkitty. There's a few more scare skips coming up. Missed those two. There's one more over here. I think I got it a little too early there. You can have Luigi just run a little bit farther. At this point, I just have Luigi stand here because we're getting the one and only elevator ride where you get attacked. Just want Luigi here, a bit faster to do it like that. I meant to get all three. I didn't have a big enough flash, but that's okay. That's that. After this, Polterkitty will be defeated. The gold goobs are still spawned when we spawned them earlier, so we just use them for spook speed. So I do a little bit of a setup here. I have Luigi stay on the stage. I put Luigi here. Flash with Luigi. And then do this. The gold goobs despawn, but that's okay. There's no real way to actually prolong them staying alive, but have Luigi get the button, and we're out of here. Good floor. We still get some swoop speed in here, so.
Oh, yeah. Ha ha. Yeah. Oh. Oh, yeah.
This last floor is one of the quicker floors. It is another walk in, fight the boss, walk out, but it does not have a toad, so. Thank you. As you can see, this run is a very tough run, especially when you're at a higher level like this, but okay, well, what I tried to do there I tried to use the hammer to attack that slinker there. Fortunately, it didn't work out. And I started slamming at 141 instead of 140, but that's okay. But after we beat those two, I'm gonna activate this just for instant running speed. We're gonna go do a puzzle and fight the boss. This floor is some pretty cool music. It's disco themed, you can tell. But basically, you have to find which goob has the elevator button. That's the puzzle aspect of the boss fight, and then we fight the boss. So this one cycle is actually pretty easy. You just flash, burst, slam 7 times. And she's stun locked enough to where you can do that. So. And we're gonna stop right around where the button is. Normally I do this with Luigi instead of Luigi, but oops. Okay, so here we're doing a goo push to skip a gauntlet. By pushing over this bench, just like that, you skip having to fight a bunch of goobs. Now we're on to the final floor.
Oh, yeah. Ha ha. Yeah. Oh.
Okay. So I don't spawn Luigi here yet until now. Saves a little bit of time having him be able to run like that there. We pull the grate. Luigi goes through here. Send Luigi here. Here is another trapper. Fortunately got too close with Luigi there. Go through here. Got Luigi there. There is a way to kind of goo push onto the railing here and have Luigi go down, but it's very inconsistent, so got for the safer, somewhat slower strat. This. The gimmick of this floor is all of these lasers that you have to deal with.
Yes. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Ha.
So this run will be implementing kind of a new strat. Not yet, but after the next room, there's a new skip that we do. Oop. Let's just do this. Improvising a little bit because the Oozer is not wanting to cooperate as per usual. So those trappers can spawn just randomly. Very inconvenient if they're in a spot that you don't. So we're hoping that Trapper RNG will be okay. This puzzle is very non-complex.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Pretty easy to remember what to do. Gotta deactivate the lasers on the other side and then grab the key on that side. So. Don't see any trappers, we're good. They're invisible until either they catch you or you flash them. So. This is the first instance of something we call door storage. So, what I just did there is the same kind of buffer by holding L and then R. I completely forgot which category I was doing. So, because we did that, Luigi is completely invincible to lasers and everything right now. Unless we were to watch a cutscene or something, Luigi would be getting hit by all of these lasers, but become invincible. Like I was saying, because we do the L and R buffer that we did for Ducky Skip, that prevents us from taking damage when we do it on a door like this. Because it interrupts the animation of him leaving. If that makes any sense. So we do it in here too, to become invincible. These lasers. And I completely neglected to mention it, but Helen Gravely, who is the main boss, floor, she's obsessed with King Boo, as you can tell. That's why you're seeing a lot of King Boo memorabilia here. But because of door storage, we can move Luigi over there to grab the key through the lasers. Normally he would just get hit by them, so saves a little bit of time. This is part of the new skip. I showed earlier right at the start the original version of this floor skip, but we don't do that. By pushing through the gate there, we skip 2 gauntlets, which saves a lot of time. So now we have to sit here and watch this cutscene of Luigi putting all of the keys into this door. This cutscene here will be a good place for donations, but not for too long, because what we're doing here is this is the penultimate boss fight. So what I did there is I have Luigi just out of bounds so that in this boss fight we can beat her without having to deactivate any of the lasers. So these colored lasers here, normally you use Luigi to go below the floor to deactivate, but we have Luigi out of bounds right now. And he doesn't spawn by Luigi at all, so we just use that to do what we call zero laser element. By using Luigi out of bounds like this, making sure these colorful lasers do not hit Luigi, we can skip having him go down here. The red lasers do not hurt him for whatever reason, so that's why we're able to do this. A lot of coincidences lining up. Unfortunately, she is one of the only bosses that can't be one-cycled. Final boss is also one of them. But I stand here so that she spawns in a very specific location, close enough to where I can do that. Run up with Luigi again, do this. Thankfully she's pulling me over here. Just doing a lot of damage boosting with Luigi here. Oops. That's alright. I just need to end on this side. Kind of play it safe with my health. As you'll notice, the low health sound is very loud. Completely overtakes everything with this. All sounds in the game become quieter than that. Oops. A little bit of a late split there. But we need to be 99 HP for the final boss. So we've saved Mario, but the first thing he does is he starts running away from us. So this first part of the segment is chasing after him. There's a couple scare skips that you can do here. I missed the first one. Okay. One here. Got it. And there's one more. A little early on that. Okay. This one and the first one that we saw are both unavoidable. So right here, this is called Mario Skip. Normally we would watch a cutscene of Mario jumping up to the top of the roof. Right here, we skip that cutscene and doing this. Because Luigi's falling, this is the only instance of Luigi's screen wrapping. So now we're at the top and we skip having to watch Mario jump up to the top here and climbing a bunch of ladders. So that was a pretty good demonstration of that. This is King Boo, obviously. He's the final boss. I'm gonna try and go for... Oh, okay, I got it. So what I just did there, I skipped a phase of his attack cycle. So that'll be good for gold of this floor. My only problem is that I need bonus hearts, which I just got one there. But we do a lot of damage boosting, as you see. It's awesome. Unfortunately, we're going to be at 79 HP. There's just one less attack that we can't skip, but we're still saving time. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it. Yes, Legacy is 2+ minutes faster than 1.4. So we're at 19 health now. The attack phase that I avoided in the first phase is this one where he attacks you with his tongue. It's just slow, so by getting hit on like a very specific frame of that lightning attack, he just doesn't do this attack for some reason. So we're gonna hope I don't get hit by anything. King Boo's on the right. Okay, and the beep boops stop. I'm gonna get these hearts after this. This is the last unskippable cutscene right here. We have to watch King Boo create this huge portrait. Technically, this segment could have been much faster if I got a second bonus heart after attacking him, because I could have skipped some extra attacks with the tongues, but nothing to worry about. Oh, okay, so this here can lose us 3 minutes if we don't get it. So I'm gonna position Luigi here. There's a bomb rain. You shoot a bomb into King Boo's mouth. It's like that. If you miss it, you lose like 2 or 3 minutes. So glad we did not do that. And time is actually coming up soon. What we consider to be time is collecting King Boo's crown. So first he gets captured. Make sure to split on time. Okay. And that's the run. The time is, you know, on collecting the King Boo crown. I didn't explain how the attacks work. You just use Luigi and Luigi at the same time to slam him to the left and to the right. So, but yeah, the getting that tongue skip is very nice. But yeah, that's the run. There was a lot. It's obviously 2.5 hours-ish. Thank you for the GGs. But it's a very fun run, and I hope if you've made it this far that you will consider this for any future events. So, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all later.